Chapter 1: The Rise of AMC. In the heart of Kansas City, where the story of AMC began, the iconic movie theater stood as a testament to a legacy built over decades. Once a single-screen theater, AMC had grown into a global cinema empire, pioneering experiences that defined modern moviegoing. But now, in the bustling headquarters, where executives once busily charted the company's future, an air of unease hung beneath the surface of strategic plans and financial forecasts. The global market was shifting, and streaming services were emerging as formidable contenders. In one of AMC's premier theaters, away from the patrons, Sarah, a longtime employee, and Mike, a recent hire, shared a moment of quiet conversation. "Have you heard the rumors about closures?" Sarah asked, her voice low. "I overheard the managers. It's not just a few theaters. They're talking about a nationwide shutdown." Mike's face grew tense. "Yeah, I've heard. My cousin's theater in New York might close too. And with my aunt sick, we really need the income. It's all happening so fast." Sarah nodded in understanding, her eyes reflecting the shared worry of thousands across the country. "It's not just our jobs. It feels like everything's changing, and there's nothing we can do about it." As they spoke, the distant sounds of a movie playing in the background faded, giving way to a poignant silence that echoed the uncertainty and concern shared by many during this tumultuous time. Meanwhile, at the top echelons of AMC, the unfolding global crisis was more than a tremor in the market. It was a storm that threatened the very foundation of the empire. Executives huddled in meetings, grappling with the reality of the pandemic. Revenue streams were drying up, and tough decisions loomed on the horizon. These boardrooms, the seeds of a plan, later known as Project Popcorn, were being sown. It was a strategy born out of desperation, a bold move to steer the company through uncharted waters. But little did they know, the repercussions of this plan would extend far beyond the balance sheets, affecting the lives of employees like Sarah and Mike, and challenging the trust of millions of retail investors. Chapter 2: The Gathering Storm. As the world grappled with the onslaught of the COVID-19 pandemic, its ripples were felt profoundly within the walls of AMC. The company, once a bustling hub of cinematic joy, faced an unprecedented challenge. Across the nation, the lights of AMC theaters dimmed one by one, leaving behind a haunting stillness where laughter and excitement once reigned. At one of the local AMC theaters, Sarah and Mike sat behind the concession area, surrounded by unsold popcorn and idle candy machines. The usual throng of moviegoers had dwindled to a mere handful, a stark reminder of the pandemic's grip on their daily lives. "Look at this, Mike." Sarah held her phone out to him, displaying the plummeting numbers that represented her company's stock options. "If we close down for good, these will be worth nothing." Mike furrowed his brow. "Stock options? I didn't sign up for anything like that. How does it work?" "You didn't?" Sarah looked surprised. "It was a program for employees," she explained. "Part of our paycheck goes into buying company stock at a set price in the future. It was supposed to be a perk," she said sadly. "It's like a bet on our own company. A portion of our pay goes to buying stock at a lower price. It's supposed to pay off down the line, sort of like an investment in AMC's success." Mike nodded, his expression turning thoughtful. "Sounds like a good idea when times are good." "Yeah," Sarah sighed. "When times are good." Meanwhile, in the corporate boardroom, the atmosphere was fraught with tension. Executives huddled over spreadsheets and projections, the reality of the situation etched on their faces. Revenue streams were drying up rapidly, and the looming threat of bankruptcy cast a long shadow over their discussions. In these meetings, the seeds of Project Popcorn were being sown. It was a strategy born out of desperation, a bold move to steer the company through uncharted waters. As the executives debated and planned, little did they know the far-reaching impact this strategy would have, extending well beyond the balance sheets and into the lives of employees like Sarah and Mike, and the millions of investors who would place their trust in AMC. In the late hours of a November evening, Derek Van Zant sat in his office, the skyline of New York City sprawling out beyond his window. As a veteran investment banker, Derek had navigated countless crises, but the one facing AMC was unprecedented. Tonight, He was finalizing the presentation of Project Popcorn for the AMC board, a strategy he had masterminded to secure the company's future and ensure himself a hefty profit as well. Van Zandt was the picture of confidence as he reviewed his notes. His career had been built on making bold decisions in the face of uncertainty, and this was no different. Project Popcorn was more than a financial maneuver. It was a necessary pivot for a company at the brink of collapse. The plan was complex, aiming to reduce the voting power of existing shareholders to facilitate an increase in authorized share count. It was a move that would attract scrutiny and possibly controversy, but Derek was prepared. He knew the nuances of every clause, the potential objections, and the counter-arguments he would present. As Derek Van Zandt walked to the AMC boardroom, his mind was not on goodwill towards the company, but on a pragmatic strategy, Project Popcorn. This plan, crafted from his keen understanding of corporate governance, was designed to override shareholder wishes and orchestrate, if successful, an elaborate takeover of the company. Van Zandt's proposal was a calculated move aimed not just at navigating AMC through financial turmoil, but also at consolidating control. In the boardroom, with a confident demeanor, he presented his strategy. Project Popcorn was his solution to reduce the voting influence of existing shareholders and increase the authorized share count. This move would push the limits of ethical boundaries and challenge the principles of shareholder democracy. Van Zandt was acutely aware, but in the high-stakes world of corporate finance, achieving results and ensuring survival often took precedence over sentimentality. Chapter 3: The Rise of the Apes. Hal Jenkins, after years of enduring the relentless routine of his 9-to-5 job, found himself at a crossroads. Standing in the dim light of his modest kitchen, he reflected on the suggestion from his coworker. The idea of investing in AMC stock, propelled by a movement of individuals rallying under the banner of Apes, sparked something in him, a sense of being part of something bigger than himself, an escape from the monotonous grind of his daily life. As he watched Fanny Pack Mac's video, a wave of realization washed over him. This wasn't just about investing in a company. It was about joining a collective fight, a rebellion against the status quo of the financial world. For the first time, Hal felt a connection to a cause that transcended his day-to-day struggles. Clicking the buy button, Hal wasn't just purchasing stock. He was taking a step towards a different kind of freedom. It was a small act, but for him, it was laden with significance. The first step in breaking away from the life he'd always known, towards something new and potentially transformative. In that moment, Hal Jenkins became more than just a factory worker. He became part of a burgeoning community, united in their shared desire for change, for control over their financial destinies. He had taken a leap into the unknown, fueled by hope and the promise of being part of a movement that was challenging the giants of Wall Street. And he'd buy and hold. Lena Harold Hal Jenkins wasn't the only one whose fate was hanging on the cusp of change that evening. Miles away, in the heart of Atlanta, Lena Martinez closed her laptop with a decisive click. The dimly lit kitchen where she sat was quiet now, her son finally asleep after a bedtime story. She glanced at the closed door of her bedroom, behind which lay the silent testament of her strained marriage, the bruises artfully concealed by her makeup. She had stumbled upon the AMC phenomenon purely by chance, a shared post on her social media feed that had led her down a rabbit hole of videos and forum posts. The passionate voices of the apes, the community spirit they shared, all resonated with her desire for liberation, not just financially, but from the life that had become her prison. Investing in AMC wasn't just a financial decision for Lena. It was a lifeline. If the rumors of a short squeeze were true, if the stock could soar as the apes believed, it might just be her ticket to freedom, for herself and her son. She had never imagined that a company she associated with family outings and buttery popcorn would become her beacon of hope. As the night deepened, Lena lay awake, the glow of the streetlights painting shadows on her ceiling. The decision to invest her limited savings into AMC stock was risky, but staying in her current life was riskier still. She imagined a future where fear didn't color her every choice, where her son could grow up without the specter of violence looming over them. And so, with a heart full of hope and a mind racing with possibilities, Lena made the choice that could alter the course of her life. She didn't know it then, but her decision was a thread woven into a larger tapestry, one that Hal Jenkins and countless others were also a part of. A tapestry that was about to be pulled tight, its pattern forever changed by the collective will of those who dared to dream. And dared to buy and hold. Chapter 4, Rise of the Devil. The screen flickered to life, illuminating a dimly lit room where a young investor named Michael sat perched on the edge of his couch. On screen, Fanny Pack Mac's latest video erupted with energy. "All right, Apes," his voice boomed, full of his usual mix of excitement and fervor. "AMC's had a rough ride today, but as you know, the shorts still haven't covered. With prices this low, this is our moment. Buy the dip!" Michael's eyes narrowed with resolve. He quickly grabbed his phone, fingers flying over the screen. "This is it," he whispered to himself. "You want to push the price down even lower, you son of a bitches?" He questioned nobody in particular as he confirmed his new purchase. "Keep dropping the price. We are just gonna buy more," cried Fanny Pack Mac, admonished the invisible force guiding their beloved stock's price down. Like him, in living rooms and offices across the globe, the apes watched and reacted. From the busy streets of New York to the bustling markets of Tokyo, a unifying fervor spread. The apes, galvanized by Fanny Pack Mac's words, saw opportunity in the downturn, a chance to bolster their cause, and they all agreed to buy and hold. However, behind the scenes, lurking in the shadows of the financial world, was a presence both ominous and powerful. Citadel and their digital masterpiece, known to many as the ABC algorithm, but would soon be known as the devil it truly was. It was an entity shrouded in secrecy and imbued with a malevolent intelligence. Its advanced AI, a synthesis of market data and human psychology, was like a predatory creature, waiting to pounce. In the sterile, glowing heart of Citadel's operations, the ABC algorithm hummed with a life of its own. It watched with cold, calculating precision as the apes poured their hopes and dreams into the ailing movie theater chain. To the algorithm, these actions were predictable, almost laughable maneuvers. Each enthusiastic purchase by the apes was a step further into the snare the algorithm had laid out. The algorithm's capability to predict and influence market behavior was unnervingly effective. It didn't just analyze trends, it created them, manipulating the flow of AMC stock with a silent, ghostly touch. Its presence in the market was like a dark cloud, casting a long, sinister shadow over the landscape of trading. Back in his room, Michael, oblivious to the true nature of the battle, watched the numbers tick downward after his purchase with a growing sense of dread, not aware of the malevolent digital force at play. He and millions of apes worldwide were being lured into its devious trap. Chapter 5, Trading in the Shadows. In the gleaming, high-tech headquarters of Virtue Financial, CEO Doug Sifu prepares for a highly anticipated CNBC segment. He is the face of a phenomenon sweeping the financial markets, a revolution of retail investors demanding access like never before. Today's market landscape is unprecedented, Doug asserts as the cameras roll. At Virtue, we're pioneering this change by offering commission-free trading through payment for order flow. We're not just in business, we're leveling the playing field for everyone. Sitting across from him in the studio is Lisa, a respected industry analyst known for her insightful and often critical views on market practices. She listens intently, her expression a mix of skepticism and readiness. As Doug concludes his point, she leans forward, ready to challenge his optimistic portrayal of PFOF. "Doug, while the idea of commission-free trading is attractive, it's important to look under the hood of PFOF," Lisa begins, her tone respectful yet firm. "This practice, while lucrative for brokers and market makers, potentially compromises the quality of trade executions for retail investors." The debate heats up as Lisa delves into the heart of the issue. "There's an inherent conflict of interest," she continues. "Brokers are incentivized to route orders to whoever pays them the most, not necessarily to where their clients can get the best deal. This can lead to worse execution prices for the very investors you're claiming to help." Doug counters, emphasizing Virtue's efficiency and the benefits of their system. "Our technology ensures competitive execution prices. The reality is, PFOF has allowed millions to participate in the market who couldn't afford to do so before." As the heated debate on CNBC comes to a close, Doug Sifu, poised and unshaken, removes his microphone and steps off the set. The studio lights dim behind him, casting long shadows across the room, an apt metaphor for the discussion that just unfolded. In the semi-privacy of the backstage area, a colleague from Virtue approaches, his face etched with urgency. They exchange a brief, knowing glance before speaking. "The volume on the meme stocks are soaring," his colleague whispers, leaning in. "It's becoming a torrent. They are buying and vowed never to sell." Doug nods, his mind already racing through the implications. "Keep it quiet and keep it under control," he responds in an equally hushed tone. "Do what you must to keep those prices down. In fact, ship any extra volume we don't need to the dark pool," he instructed. The colleague's eyes narrow, the weight of the instruction apparent. "Understood," he murmurs, turning to walk away. The conversation, brief as it was, carried the gravity of a much larger and darker narrative, playing out beyond the public's gaze, a conspiracy of silence and manipulation in the depths of the market's underbelly. Chapter 6: The Great Deception. The AMC Theater was alive with a buzz of revival. The grand return of moviegoers was heralded by the banners of Spider-Man: No Way Home that draped the walls in vibrant colors. Amidst this excitement, a peculiar scene unfolded in the lobby. Adam Aron, the CEO of AMC, known for his flamboyant and unconventional leadership style, sat in a corner. His attire for the day was strikingly casual and slightly bizarre, an ugly sweater adorned with gaudy, oversized popcorn and film reels. It was a stark contrast to the typical corporate image, a deliberate choice to appear relatable to the average shareholder who lined up for a chance to meet him. Nearby, Sarah and Mike worked the busy concession stand. They were the unsung heroes of AMC, dedicated employees who had weathered the storm of the pandemic alongside the company. Sarah handed over a large popcorn to a customer with a smile that reached her eyes. "Thank you. Enjoy the movie," she said, her voice filled with genuine warmth. The aroma of buttery popcorn filled the air, mingling with the chatter and laughter of the excited moviegoers. As the premiere of Spider-Man: No Way Home commenced, Adam seized the opportunity to present the shareholders with a unique gift, a Spider-Man NFT. The crowd erupted in cheers, believing these NFTs were not just collectibles, but a strategic move by Adam to trap the short sellers and elevate AMC's market position. However, inside Adam's mind, the picture was starkly different. With each shareholder that approached him, his mind weaved a web of deception. He responded to their admiration and queries with a facade of empathy and solidarity. But internally, he smirked at the ease with which he could manipulate the narrative. In his view, the shareholders were not partners in AMC's journey, but mere pawns in a larger game of financial chess. As the lights dimmed in the theater and the iconic Spider-Man theme echoed, the lobby buzzed with an energy unique to premiere nights. Adam Aron, in his garishly whimsical sweater, continued to charm the stream of shareholders lining up for their moment with the AMC CEO. Each handshake, each smile seemed to weave a stronger bond between him and the investors who looked to him for guidance in these turbulent times. Meanwhile, Sarah and Mike, behind the concession stand, exchanged glances that spoke volumes. They had seen the ebb and flow of crowds, the ups and downs of the company. But tonight felt different, Mike murmured as he refilled the popcorn machine. Sarah, her expression thoughtful. "It's like watching a performance," she replied. In the shadows of the lobby, away from the celebratory atmosphere, two figures huddled in a quiet conversation. They were members of Adam's inner circle, and their words were laced with urgency. "Are we sure this is the right move?" one of them, a man with sharp features, asked. His companion, a woman with a calculating gaze, responded, "It's not about right or wrong anymore. It's about survival. The shareholders don't know half of what's going on. If Adam let the stock run like they want, it would cripple our financial system. We almost lost it all when GME caught us by surprise." Their conversation was interrupted by the sound of laughter and applause as Adam regaled his audience with stories of corporate victories and future plans. The two executives exchanged a look, a silent agreement that the show must go on, despite the underlying tensions and uncertainties. Back at the concession stand, Mike handed a bucket of popcorn to a young couple, his smile unwavering. Yet, His eyes kept drifting to the lobby where Adam continued to meet with shareholders that adored him like he was a movie star. There was a nagging feeling in the pit of her stomach, a sense that beneath the surface of this well-orchestrated event, something sinister was unfolding. As the night wore on, Adam's charisma never wavered, but those who looked closely enough might notice the fleeting moments of calculation in his eyes, the brief flickers of something more than just corporate ambition. The shareholders left with promises of a brighter future, unaware of the complex web being woven around them. 50 days till Jan 28th. Chapter 7, Boardroom Betrayal. In the imposing boardroom of AMC headquarters, a crucial meeting was underway. The atmosphere was tense, each executive acutely aware of the weight of the decisions being made. At the head of the polished mahogany table sat Adam Aron, his presence dominating the room. "We need to talk about our next move," Adam began, his voice steady yet imbued with a sense of gravity. "I propose we issue 200 million additional shares. It's a significant step, but it's essential for our liquidity and, ultimately, our survival." A hushed unease settled over the room. In the dim light, one board member, their features obscured in shadow, wrestled with internal conflict. The thought of such a massive dilution was alarming, but voicing dissent in this circle was a gamble. 200 million shares? That's not just dilution, it's eroding our stock's value, the shadowed board member finally muttered, their voice a blend of frustration and apprehension. Adam's response was immediate, his tone laced with an unshakable confidence. "We have our retail investors right where we want them. They trust my guidance. With the right messaging, we can make them see this as a necessary step." The room remained silent, absorbing the implications of Adam's strategy. Sarah's phone buzzed, breaking the silence of her dimly lit living room. It was Mike. "Have you seen Adam's tweet? He's talking about issuing 200 million shares." Mike's voice was tense, laden with worry. Sarah quickly scrolled through her feed. "Another round of dilution," she said, a hint of resignation in her voice. "No, not just another round. We're talking 200 million shares, Sarah. This isn't dilution. It's killing our stock," Mike shot back, his frustration palpable. Expressing their concerns about the future of AMC and the impact of such drastic corporate decisions on employees and small investors. Their dialogue highlighted the disconnect between the boardroom and the reality faced by those on the front lines of the company. In a small, cluttered room illuminated by the blue glow of computer screens, sat Fanny Pack Mac, a prominent figure in the retail investor community. With a fervor unmatched, he was broadcasting his latest take on AMC's situation to his legion of followers. His hands danced across the keyboard, his eyes fixed on the screen, a determined grin on his face. "Listen up, Apes," he spoke with charismatic conviction, his voice resonating through the speakers. "This is not the time to falter. Buy, hold, never sell. That's our mantra. This is how we win." On the screen, chat messages flew by in a frenzy, a mix of support and fervor from his dedicated followers. "We stand with AMC, with an A," they echoed. Fanny Pack Mac leaned closer to the camera, his expression intense yet reassuring. "Trust in AA, trust in the plan. Adam Aron's got this. We're in this together, and we're stronger than ever." The room around him faded into a blur as he continued, his words a rallying cry to those who hung on every tweet, every update from AMC. Unbeknownst to him, his message was a stark contrast to the shadows of doubt and manipulation cast in the AMC boardroom. 42 days till January 28th. Chapter 8, Ripples of Discontent. The icy grip of January was upon the city, seeping into the bones of the high-rise that housed AMC's nerve center. In the executive suite that commanded a view over the bustling streets below, Adam Aron sat, his figure casting a long shadow in the morning light. The phone on his desk rang, a shrill echo in the spacious room, heralding a conversation that would ripple through the financial undercurrents. "Adam Aron?" he answered with practiced ease. "Adam, it's Derek," came the voice, tinged with a tension that belied the calm it sought to project. "We're on edge here. The market's volatile, and those new shares of AMC, we're counting on them." Adam's response was cool and measured. "Rest assured, Derek, the plan's in motion and the board's behind it. The retail investors will follow my lead. They always do." After assurances were exchanged and strategies reaffirmed, Adam set the receiver down with a decisive click. He was the conductor of this orchestra, and the players would perform as directed. In a different part of the city, in a small apartment adorned with symbols of retail investor culture, Mike was engrossed in a new AMC YouTuber, Bullfrog Fred's, latest video. Fred's earnest face filled the screen, his backdrop a carefully arranged array of financial charts and AMC memorabilia. "Good evening, Ape family, Bullfrog Fred here," he began, his voice grave. "Let's talk reality about AMC's latest move. This isn't just a dilution, people. It's a tidal wave that could sweep away everything we've been fighting for and believe in." Fred, once a discreet analyst in the financial sector, quickly became a prominent voice for the AMC investor community, valued for his direct, insightful analysis. "We need to look beyond Aaron's assurances," Fred continued, his hands gesturing to the documents on his desk. "What does this massive 200 million share release mean for us, the true believers in AMC's story?" Mike quickly shared the video with Sarah. "You need to hear this, Sarah. Fred's making some hard-hitting points about the dilution and what it really means for us." As Sarah listened to Fred's compelling narrative, a sense of unease settled in her heart. His critical viewpoint echoed the concerns of many within the investor community. Meanwhile, the media was abuzz with speculation over AMC's bold strategy. Financial news channels featured heated debates among analysts, while online forums were alive with investor theories and apprehensions. On one hand, AMC's dilution could provide necessary capital, commented a financial expert on a leading news network. On the other hand, it's a delicate balance, and investor trust is on the line here. But one thing is sure, he told his audience. The Apes are going to keep buying, and pretty soon they own the whole float. 37 days to January 28. Chapter 9. Shadows in the Market. The day dawns on Virtue's trading floor, cloaked in a charged silence. The veteran trader stands, a dark silhouette against the early light. He's preparing for the ritual that defines their days. At 8:45 a.m., he accesses the order flow data, fully aware that this skirts the edges of the rules. "Rules are made to be broken," he mutters to himself, a slight smirk on his face as he justifies stepping into this gray area. Meanwhile, Fanny Pack Mac's voice fills across the city, a rallying call to AMC investors. "We're with Adam Aaron, no room for doubters. Stand strong," he declares with a fervent conviction that's become his trademark. His words are a beacon, a rallying cry for unity in the face of adversity. His passionate voice echoes across the city, rallying AMC investors. "We stand with Adam Aaron, and if anyone tells you we can't trust our CEO, it's them who can't be trusted. Shills be damned." His words are a fiery defense against any dissent. Back at Virtue, the new recruit watches his veteran mentor with a mix of awe and ethical conflict. He's witnessing the heart of their operation, the art of front-running, an underbelly of the trading world that's rarely exposed. The recruit's face, caught between admiration and moral dilemma, reflects the internal struggle of a newcomer confronting the harsh realities of their trade. "What happens if we get caught?" he asked. The veteran trader glanced at the recruit, a sly grin playing at the corner of his mouth. "Caught, son? In this game, it's about being smart, staying ahead," he said with a dismissive wave of his hand. "We're the sharks in a sea of fishes. Just follow the currents, and you'll never find yourself in troubled waters." His confidence was unshakable, a testament to years navigating these hidden market streams. The recruit nodded, his apprehension mingling with a growing realization of the immense power and risk at his fingertips. Inside Citadel's command center, the atmosphere is charged with a focused intensity. Analysts pore over the algorithm's output, a symphony of numbers predicting the market's dance. The lead analyst, a seasoned veteran named Max, points to a particular set of data. "Look here," Max says, his voice low but urgent. "The algorithm's picking up unusual movements in AMC. This could be our chance to make a significant play." Barbara, a newer analyst with a sharp eye, leans in. "Are we talking about amplifying the volatility? Riding the wave the algorithm predicts?" Max nods, a glint of excitement in his eyes. "Exactly. This isn't just about following trends. It's about being ahead of the game." "But with volatility spiking so rapidly, what do we do about the surge in volume?" Barbara asked, confused. Max, his eyes fixed on the screens, responds with a calculated coolness. That's where the dark pool comes in. We route the excess volume there. It's quieter, less visible, allows us to move large quantities without causing too many ripples in the public markets. Their exchange reveals the depth of strategy behind Citadel's operations, a blend of predictive analytics and discreet maneuvering in the shadows of the financial world. 21 days to January 28th. Chapter Scene Tides. In the early dawn, the quiet of AMC's boardroom is disrupted by a lone figure gazing out the window. 200 million share dilution just last month. Now another 50 million more? He questions the empty room, his tone laced with skepticism and a hint of worry. What the hell is he up to? The question reverberates in the stillness, underscoring the brewing conflict within. Deep within the anonymous world of institutional trading, AMC's dark pool volume glides from hand to hand. It is here in this hidden market, fortunes are made in silence. At Virtue, the dynamic between the veteran trader and the new recruit is tense. In these waters, you either swim with the sharks or get eaten, the veteran says, his eyes never leaving the screens. We're not here to be eaten, we're here to lead the hunt. Keep an eye out for Fidelity's balancing algo. They're going to start spoofing buy orders for AMC, and we need to offset it to the dark pool. The recruit's eyes narrow in concentration, digesting the veteran's words. Fidelity's algo, spoofing orders, he repeats, his mind racing to keep up with the implications. How do we even track that? The veteran's grin is all-knowing. That's the art of this game, kid. It's not just about seeing the moves. It's about predicting the player. We know all the players, and we know their algos, he informs his new partner. Predicting their behavior and timing is the key. The veteran leans closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. Every player has a pattern, a rhythm to their trades. Fidelity, with their spoofing tactics, they're no different. We watch, we wait, and when they make their move, we counteract. It's a dance, and we always stay one step ahead. He pauses, letting the gravity of his words sink in. In this world, information is power, and timing, he taps a finger on the screen, where numbers dance and flicker. Timing is everything. The recruit nods slowly, a newfound resolve in his eyes, understanding that in this high-stakes game, foresight and strategy are their greatest weapons. Across the city, the Apes are mobilizing. Their online platforms turn into hives of activity, buzzing with strategies and rallying cries. They are not just observers, they are participants, shaping the narrative with every post and tweet. In a quiet cafe, a lone figure observes the market's fluctuations on his laptop. His expression is thoughtful, analytical. He's known in certain circles as the Cowboy Clown, a new player in the world of financial commentary. His approach is unorthodox, yet his insights are sharp, cutting through the noise with surprising clarity. Cowboy Clown's focus shifts as a new video from Bullfrog Fred pops up on YouTube. He watches intently as Fred voices his concerns about AMC's situation, questioning the need for further dilution. Why would Adam be doing this when it seems unnecessary? Fred asks, his tone a mix of confusion and suspicion. Cowboy Clown's brow furrows, irritation flaring as he listens. He begins to scribble notes furiously, his mind already formulating his rebuttal. He sees Fred's growing influence as a threat, a misinformation campaign that needs to be countered. This guy's spreading fear, and people are buying it, he mutters to himself, his anger simmering. Determined, he plans his next video, a mission to debunk Bullfrog Fred's theories and assert his own stance in this financial drama. The cafe fades into the background as he immerses himself in his mission, the battle lines drawn in his mind. As the day unfolds, the ripples from AMC's boardroom begin to intersect with the currents stirred by Virtue, the dark pool, and the resolute Apes. Each player, knowingly or not, contributes to the buildup of a wave that could redefine the market's landscape. 18 days till January 28th. Chapter 11, The Rising Storm. Dawn breaks over the city, casting a soft light on the AMC boardroom. Inside, the atmosphere is tense. The board member from yesterday paces, his thoughts consumed by the upcoming shareholder meeting. How do we justify this to them? He wonders, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. At Virtue, the recruit, now more resolved, has his eyes the screens with a newfound understanding. Today, you make your mark, son. The veteran trader declares, the thrill of the chase evident in his voice. The atmosphere is thick with focus and anticipation. The veteran trader leans in towards the recruit. With this surge in AMC volume, we're walking a tightrope, he states firmly. But I've got faith in Citadel to keep the reins on the price. They know this dance better than anyone. The recruit watches, absorbing the complexities of the game they are playing. All this new volume, it's like a tsunami, he remarks. The veteran nods, his eyes never leaving the screens. Exactly. And that's why we have to be sharp. Citadel's got the control, but we need to stay vigilant, ride the wave they create. Across the city, the Apes are in full force. Their online forums are abuzz with theories and plans, a collective force growing stronger by the hour. They're not just a group of investors anymore. They're a movement. In his makeshift studio, Cowboy Clown prepares for his broadcast. His face is set in determination as he rehearses his lines. It's time to set the record straight, he mutters, his eyes fixed on the camera. As the day draws to a close, the lines are drawn. The market becomes a chessboard, each player positioning themselves for what comes next. A sense of foreboding is in the air, and the storm is no longer on the horizon. It's here. The veteran trader watches the screens, a look of fierce concentration etched on his face. Timing is key. We ride the waves, not create them. That's Citadel's job. They set the price, he explains to the recruit, who absorbs every word, his mind a whirlwind of strategies and predictions. In a high-rise office, a group of hedge fund managers huddle around a large screen, their eyes tracking the rising and falling numbers. AMC is the play of the day, one declares, his voice echoing the sense of anticipation in the room. They are ready to dive into the fray, their decisions fueled by cold calculation. Cowboy Clown's broadcast goes live, his demeanor a blend of showmanship and sincerity. Folks, don't be fooled by the fearmongers, he says, addressing his growing audience. There's more to this game than meets the eye. AMC, even with the dilution, is a good bet. His words, charged with conviction, ripple through the digital world, challenging the prevailing narratives. As dusk falls, the city's skyline is a tapestry of lights, each window a story, a player in the vast game of the market. In the AMC boardroom, the lights burn late into the night, the decisions made here casting long shadows over the days to come. While, in another skyscraper in New York, a shadowy figure stands alone by a large window in a high-rise office, gazing out into the night. The room is dimly lit, the glow from the skyline casting a soft light on his contemplative face. He stands there motionless, lost in thought. His eyes, reflective and intense, reveal a mind at work, contemplating the intricate trap he has meticulously set for Citadel. It's a game of chess played at the highest levels of finance, and he's just made a pivotal move, one that could alter the entire board. The figure's silhouette is commanding, his presence almost tangible in the quiet of the room. He knows the stakes are high, and the risk even higher. In the world of financial giants, he set a trap that could ensnare the mightiest, even Citadel. The room is still. The only sound is the distant hum of the city. The figure turns away from the window, his expression unreadable, yet filled with a sense of purpose. He steps back into the shadows, his plan set in motion, waiting for the dawn and the market's reaction as a smile crosses his face. 10 days till January 28th. Chapter 12. Echoes in the Market. As dawn breaks, the city awakens to a day charged with anticipation. High above in a towering office, a shadowy figure stands by the window, his gaze cast over the waking city. Silhouetted against the early light, he contemplates the unfolding drama in the markets below. In the bustling trading room of virtue, the atmosphere is electric with tension. The veteran trader, eyes fixed on the screens, imparts wisdom to the recruit. It's about anticipation, understanding the currents beneath the numbers, he says with a focus that cuts through the hum of activity. Meanwhile, the Apes rally their forces online. Social media and forums buzz with activity as they morph from a group of individual investors into a united movement. Their collective voice grows louder, a chorus of strategy and solidarity. Bullfrog Fred adjusts his microphone, the green glow of the on-air sign casting a determined shadow across his face. His studio, cluttered with monitors and memorabilia, feels alive with the pulse of the market. We're not just investors, we're pioneers, trailblazers in a financial frontier, he declares, his voice a deep rumble of conviction. They think they can predict us, control us? We're rewriting the rules, showing that the power of the people is mightier than the power of the purse. He leans forward, his gaze piercing through the camera. Remember, folks, they may have billions, but we have something stronger: unity, conviction, and the will to fight for our market. With a nod, he wraps up the broadcast. Who's your BFF? Bullfrog Fred. Signing off till next time. Stay strong, stay united, and keep hopping through the market lily pads, my friends. The day unfolds with rapid developments. A major hedge fund takes a significant position against AMC, causing ripples through the financial world. In response, the Apes mount a fervent campaign, their online presence a testament to their growing influence. In the hidden depths of the dark pool, Citadel instructs the ABC algorithm to send large trades of AMC stock away from the public eye, a silent yet potent force in the market's drama. In the seclusion of a dimly lit room, the shadowy figure monitors the market's every pulse. His eyes, reflecting a chess player's calm, track the streams of data revealing Citadel and Virtue moves within the dark pool. A satisfied smile curls the corner of his lips as he leans back in his chair, the glow of the monitors casting an ethereal light upon his face. How dare he challenge you, my darling, he whispers affectionately to the machine that is the heart of his power, his own algorithm silently churning away in the background. We shall see who truly commands the tides. He pauses, his gaze now fixed on the screen as if looking Citadel in the eye. You or them. With every trade Citadel makes, he sees the perfect alignment of the trap he has set, the web of his making ready to ensnare its prey. As night falls, the city's skyline is a tapestry of light and shadow, each window a story, each building a player in the vast game of finance. Decisions made this day will cast long shadows, shaping the days to come. 7 days till January 28th. Chapter 13. The Calm Before the Storm. The Citadel boardroom was bathed in a soft, ambient light, creating an atmosphere of anticipation that hung heavy in the air. Ken, the charismatic CEO of Citadel Financial, stood at the front of the room, his tailored suit exuding confidence. His eyes swept across the faces of his managers, a group of highly talented individuals who had worked tirelessly to develop and implement the revolutionary ABC algorithm. As Ken spoke, a hand rose in the back of the room. It was Jonah, a young associate who was considered a rising star within Citadel. Jonah's concern was evident as he addressed the CEO. Ken, I've been monitoring the recent surge in meme stocks. The volume is skyrocketing, and it's starting to create instability in the market. Ken's gaze fixed on Jonah, and he acknowledged him with a nod. I appreciate your diligence, Jonah. But remember, our ABC algorithm was designed to handle precisely these situations. I have the tools, and you are supposed to have the expertise to maintain control. I need you to focus on your role, Griffin admonished as he barked his order. Just get those press releases out there and to the directed. And let the algorithm take care of the rest. Jonah's anger boiled within him, but he nodded and sat back down, his mind already racing with alternative thoughts. In the shadows of Citadel's bustling office building, Jonah couldn't suppress the burning grudge he harbored against the company. That evening, he retreated to the dimly lit basement of his apartment building, where he made a call to a shadowy figure. His voice trembled with eagerness as he spoke. I've been waiting for this moment. I can't wait to be the one to bring them down. On the other end of the line, the shadowy figure listened intently, a sinister satisfaction in their voice. You've proven your loyalty, Jonah. Your knowledge of Citadel's inner workings makes you invaluable to our cause. I have a task for you, one that will hasten their downfall. Jonah leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with anticipation as he hung on the shadowy figure's every word. The assignment was critical, a move that would set in motion the shadowy figure's intricate plan to dismantle Citadel from within. As Jonah reflected on his journey, a sense of irony washed over him. He was back within the very walls of Citadel, the belly of the beast that had wronged him and his family long ago. Little did Ken and his team know that the storm they believed they had such a firm grip on was swiftly approaching, and Jonah was now a key player in the unfolding chaos, working covertly to expose the truth and bring Citadel to its knees. 3 days till Jan 28th. Chapter 14: The Rising Tide. The early morning sun cast a soft glow over the skyline of Manhattan, but inside Citadel's imposing headquarters, the mood was anything but serene. Ken Griffin, the CEO, presided over a tense meeting in the executive boardroom, his usually unflappable demeanor betraying a hint of concern. The recent volatility in the meme stocks, particularly AMC and GME, had taken everyone by surprise. As of now, our focus is on stabilizing the situation, Ken stated, addressing the room of top strategists and managers. I want a full analysis of our positions and a contingency plan in place. Jonah, sitting at the back, felt a surge of satisfaction. Unbeknownst to his colleagues, he had been subtly altering the order flows, using Ken's own computer systems against him. The thrill of his covert sabotage was exhilarating, but he knew he had to remain cautious. Later that evening, in the dimly lit basement of his apartment, Jonah connected with the shadowy figure orchestrating the chaos from behind the scenes. Everything is in place, he reported, his voice low. Citadel is scrambling. Excellent, came the reply, a note of satisfaction evident in the shadowy figure's voice. Proceed with the next phase. It's time to ramp up the pressure. The line clicked off, leaving Jonah alone with the weight of his actions. He stared at the phone, a mix of triumph and unease churning within him, aware that the game was changing, and he was now a key player. Meanwhile, across the city, retail investors, the Apes, were celebrating. The soaring prices of their beloved meme stocks were a cause for jubilation. Social media platforms and online forums buzzed with excitement and theories. However, Bullfrog Fred, one of the prominent voices in the community, felt a nagging sense of unease. Something about the situation didn't add up, and he decided to hold off on his usual stream of content until he could make sense of his doubts. Back at Citadel, the market closed with the meme stocks at unprecedented highs. The trading floor was abuzz with a mix of excitement and anxiety. Ken remained in his office long after everyone else had left, staring at the screens displaying the day's market movements. Finally, he reached for the phone. His decision was made. I don't care what you have to do, he said, his voice cold and resolute. Pull the plug on the meme stocks. To be continued. Excerpt from Boardroom Betrayal. GameStop, Greed and Glory. Chapter 1, Echoes from Capitol Hill, February 18, 2021, Washington, D.C. The congressional hearing room in Washington, D.C. was a theater of tension and anticipation. Wall Street's giants, accustomed to towering over the financial world, now faced a reckoning before Chairwoman Maxine Waters and the House Financial Committee. Her voice, firm and commanding, sliced through the room's murmur. This recent market volatility has thrust Wall Street's institutional practices into the national spotlight, prompting a crucial discussion on the evolving role of technology and social media in our markets, she stated emphatically. The very foundations of our financial systems have been shaken by this volatility, she continued, with clear resolve. It is imperative we scrutinize what allowed for such disruption, to understand not just the consequences, but the actions that, while legal, may not align with the spirit of a market serving the many, not the few. As the hearing begins, the air grows dense with the gravity of the moment. Chairwoman Waters, with a gaze that seemed to pierce through the veneer of corporate bravado, turned her attention to the first of the Wall Street titans. The room fell into a hushed silence, the only sound being the soft shuffling of papers and the faint hum of the air conditioning. With every question posed, the tension escalated, revealing the intricate dance between power, regulation, and the pursuit of profit. The executives, usually so composed and unflappable in their glass towers, now faced a different kind of scrutiny, one that promised to lay bare the complexities and perhaps the darker underbelly of their financial machinations.